Okay, so checkout time is at 10 and Blondie's ride isn't here yet with all my solo gear, so we are going to relocate to a coffee shop. This morning we get out of bed and somebody was like limping all of a sudden, having Achilles pain. So she just gets her hiker hobble just as she's leaving. Oh, no more Blondie. Hey look, there's a paparazzi. Okay, sadly, Massa Taters no more. Taters is on her way to the airport. So this is also the day I could have done the Presidential Traverse. So since Taters needed a ride to the airport from somebody, we made arrangements with Mike, who came and met us a while back. And we were able to mail some things there. Because as you can see, I have a new sleeping pad. Also, I needed my trusty Nemo tent back. We've been using a 3-person tent, which is a little too roomy for me, so I'm back to a 2-person Hornet. Also, hiking pole tips were failing, so got some replacement tips. Got a new thing for my ponytail because that little elastic band was about to fail. All the things. Also, my shoe-related nightmare is now over. These are the shoes that I knew were coming, but I needed about a week ago. So those Keens that I was using, they ended up working out okay. They don't have as good of a grip, they're heavier, and they don't ventilate near as well, so my feet were sweating, but they got me through the Presidentials about as well as I could have asked for. Still, happy to have my trusty Olympuses back. As I mentioned before, I'm hopeful that these are going to last the whole 500 miles. The only ones that have failed on me, and this is like my 8th pair of Olympuses, were the blue ones, so I think there may be a production issue with the blue ones. So, plan from here is I've got about 24 miles to the Rattle Hostel, where I have pre-cached the next 5 days worth of food so I don't have to go back to Gorham. So I'll get there sometime tomorrow. So I started this trail alone, and then, you know, Taters came out for a week after several months of me being solo. And then I went back to being solo until she joined me at the Shenandoahs. It feels like a long time since I've been hiking solo. It's always kind of a rough adjustment. So today it is August 13th, and unfortunately I probably won't get to see Taters again until sometime in November is my best guess. Unless things don't go well, and if the border recloses, I may have to finish at the Canadian border, so I might see her in October. But I'm hoping I won't see her again until November, as sad as that is. Bit of an uphill to get me started with. Fun times. Bit of a clearer day over there today, huh? 6 o'clock, and looking at the GoodHook comments, I think I agree with this being a climb on par with Kinsman. I'm still on Wildcat Ridge. So another couple of miles ahead, there is a hut. My plan is, if I can make it there in a reasonable amount of time, fill up water and then start looking for a site sometime after 7:30. Okay, so that building down there is the most remote of the huts out here. I thought I was going to have to get water down there, but it looks like there's water partway down this ridge. I then go up that hill on the other side. So this will be fun. I'm pretty much done for the day, so if I can find water and a place to camp, I'm going to call it. Okay, at 7:30 I was able to get water at the rock slide above the notch, and this is a campsite. So I think I'm going to do home sweet home for the night. One thing about the campsites out here is you see them, and from a distance you're like, oh, this is going to work really great. And then you look closer and they're covered with roots and rocks and whatnot. Like here, I'm probably going to set up right here. But yeah, you see over here? If I had an air mattress, I could set up on this, but I don't use air mattresses because they pop too often. Yeah, I could set up right there also. But it really limits your options. It's frustrating when we would be, 20 feet up, go, oh, hey, there's a good site, and then get down there and it's like, yeah, not so much. Oh, well, joys of the AT, huh? I am really not sure what is going on with this campsite. I'm basically right above Carter Notch on the south side, and it's listed as a site that can fit a couple of tents. It can maybe fit 2. Just as I was getting set up, somebody else came by last night, and I basically offered, said, I prefer to be solo. I'm happy to move on if you want to stay. So, okay, that was one thing, right? And then 3:30 in the morning, I get woken up by a bunch of people passing by with headlamps. And then that proceeded to happen off and on until sunup. I don't know why that many people were running around out here. Also, it just started sprinkling, so that's going to make all these rocks more fun, right? So as you can see, I'm back in my trusty two-person Nemo Hornet. It took me a little while to get used to this tent when I first started with it on the PCT, but I do absolutely love it. It's much more efficient to set up than the Tiger Wall, even though it's kind of the same design. The Tiger Wall that we have being a three-person, you got to like walk around and there's more clips and stuff. And once the rainfly is there, you have to kind of stake out the rainfly with some optional stakes if you really want to get good coverage. I'm a big believer in the semi-freestanding tents like the Hornet, just because they really simplify setting up. I tend to want to be able to set up wherever I am in, whatever circumstances, and the ones that require you to use hiking poles are the ones that absolutely require you to have stakes in the ground. That doesn't always work. See the Keys where, it was hard packed ground and there were no rocks, nothing of a size that you could use to stake out the tent. And this thing, since basically it has 3 arms, can set up without anything in the ground. It just isn't going to be fully out. But then all I do is take my big shoes and stick them in the corners, and it works. I've had this set up on like the side of a switchback in Washington before when I just could not get anything. At the end of a long day, the last thing I want to screw with is having to like rig a tarp or mess too much with one of those tents that requires a lot of guy lines and everything. Just have no energy. Wildcat Ridge is surprisingly difficult. I'm not done with it yet. I somehow missed the comments that said, oh yeah, this climb's just as hard as like Kinsman and the stuff on the other side. So I'm starting out with like brand new shoes, feeling kind of down because Tater's just left, and it just goes like straight up. I was doing a mile an hour climbing up those rocks with everything. At least I didn't have 6 days of food, right? Note to self, avoid camping near AMC huts where apparently random jackasses will feel the need to scream very early in the morning. Okay, rain has stopped, sun came back out, so I packed up really quick and got moving again. A little later than I wanted, but oh well. Sadly, the tent is wet, the rocks are wet, but what you gonna do? So this hut's a little smaller. The bathroom and the bunkhouse are separate buildings up the hill, but they have water. It actually is. Okay, after reaching the hut and finding it had a very, very timely bathroom, and then drinking 2 purchased cups of lukewarm coffee, it's back to the climbing. So there's the hut down below me. You can see the various buildings. I think there's 2 sleeping dorms, the bathrooms on the upper right, and of course the hut with the food is at the bottom. And there's where I was yesterday. Oh, somebody just going at the overlook if you look really, really close. Well, the good news is the climb out of Carter's was more my kind of climb. Steady up versus, the stuff where you have to use your hands and pull on roots to get up it. Now if I can just get more of that. Southern Maine's not known for being steep, right? I am kind of happy for the clouds at the moment, but this does look like it could rain on me again. It's been raining a little bit. Not bad. Didn't even get my rain jacket out. Just get annoyed when my phone gets wet, Makes the screen hard to use. So yes, it is bloody raining again, and this time hard enough that I got my rain gear on. And walked by a guy, and I'm like, oh yeah, hey. And he's like, are you Matthew? And I'm like, yeah. Oh! He brought me pizza way down south, and now he's doing a southbound AT. Small world. Oh, this seems kind of familiar. The rain stopped, but I've been having to down climb this stuff, which is less than fun in the rain. Here on the top of Mount Moria. So cleared up a little bit, but it's not pretty breezy. Okay, so once again, my timing is not always the best. It is about 5:40 or so, and I've got another 4 miles until the hostel. So that's going to take probably about 2 hours, assuming things move quickly. Down climbing rocks and things had me going slower than that for a good chunk of the day. So that gets me there at about 8 o'clock, around when it's dark. I've basically been debating whether I wanted to just stay the night at Rattle River Hostel. That way I could charge everything, etc., but I'm really not in the mood for camping in the middle of a big crowd. And I know that there seems to be a whole hell of a lot of people running around in this area right now. So I think I'm going to go with plan B and find a camp a little bit before the road, get up early, get into Rattle early, do all my resupply, charge stuff up, drink some of their coffee, and then get moving early in the morning. This is one of the reasons I like having, an extra dinner with me. I have a thing of mashed potatoes, which is relatively light, and if I say need to spend an extra night out, I don't have to just eat a couple of bars. It's about 7:15, and I'm just looking for the first ethical camp I could find. Okay, not my favorite camp ever, but it works, and I'm intending to get moving pretty early in the morning, so home sweet home for the night. Okay, so I'm assuming the Rattle River Hostel down below is going to have coffee, so I'm sticking to, just one cup of coffee before I get going. Basically, I wanted to avoid having to go back into Gorham, so Jen and I bought food both for the section I'm on and the next section, dropped it off on Rattle River Hostel before, dropping me off at Pinkham. So I just have to go in, get the box from him, drink some more coffee, and then I have a clear run to about 1973 at Wrangley. Now, there is one or two steep sections in there, so this might be fun as far as like a 5-day carry. You ever feel like you're hiking without your giggle track? Okay, so less than a mile down to the Rattle River Hostel, which should have a bathroom and my package and hopefully coffee. And I'm back. Mike ran me over here before he dropped me off at Pinkham. Longest delay is probably just going to be charging my batteries since I got a long haul out of here to Wrangley.
6 hikers hike.
Okay, I'm just waiting for my battery to finish, then hit the bathroom and get on the road here. Rattle River was a really friendly hostel, but sadly I got to get hiking. Also, sadly, my pack is now heavier than it has been for a while because I've got a 5-day food carry here. I'm trying to get to Wrangley, and I'm having to be a little more conservative as far as what my daily mileage is because 20-mile days have been a little hard to hit lately. Rumor has it after Mahoosuc in southern Maine, it gets a little flatter, but we'll see. Flat would be nice. I could hit some actual high mileage days. I was able to talk to Taters back there. She is back in Orange County and kind of adjusting to being back in town and starting up stuff at school. So from here it's about 300 miles to Katahdin, so barring injury, that's looking pretty good. Then of course there is the Canadian border situation. I will be all set as far as I'm vaccinated and I'm making plans to get a test before I hit the border. My only worry is, due to the variant surge going on right now, they may close the border again from what I hear. That is going to really bum me out if I get all this way and then can't cross into Canada, but what you gonna do? Then I'll just have to come back and do the entire IAT, huh? So I was just sitting down getting some water. Somebody came up and I was talking to another hiker about the Florida thing. The guy's like, "Wait, are you masochist? Looks like I finally found Hambone." He started down at Big Cypress, and then he's been doing the ECT, though he skipped the Alabama Roadwalk because, it's the Alabama Roadwalk. There's also another guy named Bone Spur, the Appalachian Chaplain or something like that, who took a clip of us for his YouTube channel, so might be able to see a cameo there. So it looks like that's Mount Washington over there on the skyline. Kind of cool getting to actually see something. Okay, it's after 7 and I'm just dragging today. I'm going to set up camp for the night, eat as much as possible, and try and lighten my load for tomorrow. I'm just feeling down today. Oh well, home sweet home for the night.